Welcome to this special edition of Shop Talk Live. Now, over the last 30 editions of Shop Talk Live, we've featured many retailers who are really changing the game in this respect, from Circle K in Norway to Wawa in the US and Morrisons supermarkets here in the UK. The key question for our industry and also all these retailers is, how do they engineer a mind shift in terms of how they do food and beverage in their store? What are the key challenges? How do you do it properly? And you know, part of the discussion today is all about food, taste, quality, getting it right. And that's why I'm delighted to be joined by John Benson-Smith in the Shop Talk Live kitchen today. Welcome, John.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what the heck is a chef like yourself playing at shopkeeping for?
Well, it's shopkeeping and food makers. So I spent probably 2.5 years plus working with the great guys in Bradford, Morrisons. Yeah, hatching a plan. I suppose I became the excuse. I'm trying to think of the name for the person that kind of stirs up trouble and debate and thinking.
You're a troublemaker.
Yes, but there's probably some modern kind of management word for whatever that is. But
now, we've all seen, obviously, we've featured a lot of retailers in Shop Talk Live over the last 30 editions. You've watched some of them, John, I know. One of the retailers that really got a lot of interest and attention was Morrisons. That store in Manchester, you know, a lot of us have been there, admired it. I mean, it was a bit of a game changer, wasn't it? And you know, I know you've had something to do with that.
Well, for me, it wasn't really a game changer because I wasn't I don't mean this rudely, I wasn't bogged down with the retail supermarket thing. My experience of retail supermarket was going in and shopping and, you know, all the rest of it. So becoming a member of that team and becoming the catalyst for change. Imagine two lumps of pastry. One of them is the retail supermarket and the other one is the food service, hospitality, catering. Mashing those two together, because both do food, but you know, one does it in a very different way to the guys with the tin cans and the fresh bread on the high street. So it was the pushing the things together. So for me, it wasn't anything. Well, was it something new? Yes, and it was a risk. But I have to say, and I mean this, and no one pays me, I have to admire that those guys took it. Eventually, after the bit of bickering and the arguing, and you know which one does, because we're from. You know, what was the name of the guy that first put his foot on the moon?
Neil Armstrong.
So imagine that the catering food service, I was in my spaceship and I landed in the world of retail supermarkets and I put my foot out.
That's a good analogy.
So that was how I kind of felt. But, fantastic.
Let's just put ourselves in the customer's perspective, if you like. You walk into that Manchester store and immediately there's these flames. This flame grill on the other side that captivates you, doesn't it? And you can smell the flavours. All that food is cooking. So, is that your sort of experience and if you like, the world of being a chef and food creation, converging with a supermarket? Because I've never seen anything quite like that.
The most successful businesses that happen within catering, food service, whatever you want to call it, are run by dictators, but nice ones. So I don't apologise for being a dictator, but I was working with a massive, huge beast of a business that are very good at what they do. So I was there to influence, to kick, to shove, to push, to kick, to cuddle, to get their psyche to begin to understand myself and the industry I'm from, if that makes sense. So it wasn't no good of going in and saying, this is a pot of paint, this is how it's going to be. You had to take everybody along on the journey, because half of what retail supermarkets do is amazing and half of it's not. And the same within my home industry. Half of it's brilliant and half of it isn't. So mashing the two together was
I've been in the retail side of the industry for a long time, and I've seen a number of supermarkets really understanding there was a big opportunity here with food and understanding where they wanted to get to, but really finding the journey, a cultural journey perhaps, really tough. I mean, Morrisons, I think, with this store have taken that leap and look successul, in terms of what they... Was it a very tough journey for them? That's an interesting question.
Well, there was only one of me, and there's thousands of them. So when I just say it as it is. What you learn within food consultancy is if you string people along, you get discovered. So when I first sat down with my moustache and sunglasses on at the back of a cafe, and we talked about what they were kind of thinking of and my own input, I was on about the fact it's tough and it's hard and it's low margins and it's bloody sweat and tears and you can't half do it. So I really tried to put these guys off this whole thing and told them the benefits and the whole thing. But I saw the vision. To me, the way I see the market, I don't get this kind of segregation. Imagine a football pitch that's got cages in it, where you can't go from one side to the other side. The customers doesn't want to know all about what's retail, what's food and beverage, what's this and what. They just want an experience. So the great thing about the Morrisons guys, they looked at wholesale, they looked at the whole thing and thought, let's smash the barriers down. So you can see the boundaries changing. It's all about the customer and what they want, not necessarily these artificial barriers and fences and walls that we build within all the industries.
I think that's a good way of putting it. And do you think, is there a bigger opportunity right now? Obviously, we're all coming out of a pandemic globally. The consumer is often in a different place.
Yes.
Literally, geographically, in terms of what they want. Do you think there's a bigger opportunity in this space than ever?
Definitely. Since my time with Morrisons, and respect to those guys, I put forward to David Potts and the team two grills, if I can put it. And I put one, the nice, safe electric one, and I then put the fire-breathing one with the coals and the whole thing. And I'm thinking, this is going to be the indicator to, are you really committed? 1 to 10, which button are you going to press? And actually, they went for the very safe but fantastic looking. It's real fresh meat. It's aged. It's marinated, and it's grilled in front of you. This isn't a kind of 2 pieces of plastic and some frozen thing out of a box. We took, and I don't apologise for this. We took hundreds of chefs off the market who, in the middle of furlough, had no jobs, and they took, because So what I'm trying to say is that toughest thing for me was to get the ethos. Wear the badge saying, I'm committed, I'm a real foodie. Or put a sign on your badge saying, I'm not really bothered. But the Morrisons guys, they went for it.
Looking at smaller stores, convenience retail, and we feature a lot of convenience stores in this programme, what do you think some of the challenges are with actually trying to take some of that and putting it into a smaller unit? Okay,
right. So you probably come out with 50 different mini concepts within the big brand. And you say, when we're in Blackburn, we have those 5, and we've got our corner shop, we're going to have 2, and when it's a petrol station, we'll have 2.5. So you adapt it to wherever. And obviously, if I'm in the middle of Putney, and having worked there, good old Fulham, the eating habits are slightly different to when you get into Sheffield or you're into Inverness. So you've got to adapt that and have different offerings. And if you're by the sea, obviously, I'm not saying it's kind of jelly and ice cream and fish and chips, but it's adapting it to the region, isn't it? And the space and the whole thing. So once you've got the brand and concept and you've got the ethos, which is really important. So you have a tribal, and I mean that in the nicest of ways, this is what I learned from the Middle East, the tribal mentality to say, these are our beliefs, this is our tribe, this is our gang. Does that sound strange? And actually, we just exist within that box of tricks, but we do different styles of food. But the great thing is, within the most of the catering operations, you're waiting for a lorry to arrive. Well, you are in Morrisons a bit, but I can walk over there now and grab some chives, or I can get some so-and-sos. The whole room is about food. I could see an allotment being built in the middle of it.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm not joking about the allotment, by the way, but you begin to think it's all about the food makers. And
I'm going to use the E word on you now, efficiency. Obviously, if you look at, I look at a lot of operations, a lot of retailers will be very, very worried about pushing too hard and too fast into food and hot food cooked on, prepared on site because of efficiency, worrying about wastage and that kind of thing. It's obviously something which our industry tries to really keep a tight handle on. How do you manage that How do you manage that to make it work, John? Because I know this is an efficient. It struck me that the Morrisons store was very efficient in this respect.
Well, I would, if I'm being tough, and I spent a lot of time wandering around supermarkets, and since I worked for Morrisons, I spent an eternity walking around, looking at them, and why is that there, and that's a so-and-so and whatever. But I was in a supermarket recently that had cages full of food that was out of date, that was going to get thrown out. So what I'm saying is, within a nice way, the supermarket model with food needs to rethink the bit to say we can save on that and we can reinvest in that. Now, I mean, what I would say is that the Morrisons model is obviously about labour within reason, isn't it? And it's about freshness, and it's about I want it now. Some of the other supermarkets probably won't make it in a central production unit or have 2 giant factories. You need to control your costs, but it's about great products. And if you don't produce great products, you're going to get found out.
I think now's a very good opportunity to welcome in our other guest expert, Lars Fredrik Ellerbrook. Welcome, Lars.
Welcome. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for welcoming me.
Now, Lars, as you've heard, we've been talking a lot about flavour, taste, experience today. You own one of the biggest specialty ingredient warehouses in the world. John's getting excited about that. This is in your DNA, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We have been very fortunate that in the last, let's say, you can say century, specialty ingredients such as tea, coffee, cocoa, and others, spices, for instance, have been very, let's say, uprunning and exciting to lots of consumers and customers because the visual effect for quality products is rising. And therefore, we have been very fortunate to be in this business and supplying those ingredients globally to lots of leading companies in the world.
Well, you've got very wide business interests, and we're only going to really be focusing on one part of that today, which is looking at this Life Brands business. And just following on from the discussion John and I have been having, thinking about the hot beverage category and what your Life Brands are doing in particular there. Tell us a bit about that, Lars.
So in the hot beverage category, I think it's better to describe the category as coffee, tea, and chocolate, or coffee, tea, and cocoa, because we think actually cold and hot. So the cold and hot dispensed category is what we are trying to move forward with and being expert on that. We call ourselves architects because we see the whole thing as a wholesome approach. Meaning that we are looking at the retailer point of view and the consumer point of view, and also involve ourselves into machine technique, into digital, let's say, services, but also obviously taste satisfaction and customer experience. And therefore, we are very much in detail of recipes who drive customer satisfaction. And that's what our daily life look like, that we are in details to improve the taste in the environment of the convenience retail business.
Tell us who you've worked with globally.
We're fortunate to work with companies like Circle K, with BP, with Albert Heijn, with lots of other American retailers as well, IHOP, for instance. So all of these, let's say, formats have different requirements. Some of them have, let's say, the topic to think about the change of electric car fueling, so to say, and the change of habits of consumers in the stores, and others have to think about restaurant concepts and how to drive more business in these restaurant concepts. So basically our business is very diversified, and we have different customers worldwide who ask us to give them a wholesome approach knowledge, and not just being a supplier of supplying them a cheaper product as of today. And that's basically also not what we are interested in.
Well, I think that's a very good point, maybe to get a comment from John, and I'll come back to you in a minute, Lars. But you know, it's if you want quality and you want taste and you want customer satisfaction, it can't just be all about purchasing, can it?
Certainly not. I think, I'll give an example. I was messing around with some licorice root the other day, and I got my wife's coffee grinder without telling her, and I put some whole, and I then made a licorice stock for a very simple panna cotta. And she came around the corner 20 minutes later with the most beautiful licorice stock. And do you know what she used? You know what I'm going to say? She used licorice tea. And what I'm saying, that got me on this whole thing about stock, taste, the journey, the history, the story. It's all the same, but one's a liquid, and the whole tea thing's amazing.
Now I think we could pull out a lot of convenience retailers, Lars, who are doing this much better. But let's pick on one. Let's pick on Circle K. And I know you've done some work for them. What have they done with their coffee category, which has worked?
First of all, I think they approached the whole business case in a wholesome approach. They didn't just change part of the coffee. They basically changed the mentality of the category from purchasing the cheapest product to purchasing a quality and taste-oriented product, and combine it with very intelligent and quality-wise advanced machine technology to produce an excellent final product. So I think it's really a total mindset change. And Per Andersen, who was the leader in that business a few years back, who initiated that whole business on a global scale, has really done a total mindset change, because in many companies, the purchase department is strong and leading the business. And with Circle K, it was more the category management who actually decided we want to make a change in terms of taste and customer satisfaction. So they had to touch everything. They had to touch the machines. They had to touch the ingredient, the recipes, the education of the staff, and also the environment of the shop. And also, obviously, nowadays, when sustainability becomes so important, they had to think about packaging and to-go solutions for customers in order to give them also good mindset when they come back to Circle K, including trade marketing solutions, and also customer bonuses to loyalty programs to bind the consumer to Circle K. And that was a very successful journey they have done. And they have not done it for coffee. They have also done it for cocoa and for tea and for, let's say, snacks. So it's a bundling concept and not just serving one individual beverage, hot or cold.
Obviously, for all those reasons, and because of, if you like, the totality of their approach, Lars, it's been a great success financially for them, hasn't it?
I mean, without going into details, we just know that the whole business unit or case was so successful that they rolled out the whole concept quicker than they initially wanted, because it's obviously a big investment to change more than 10,000 stores on a global scale. But once they saw that the numbers have actually tremendously increased, also with regards to tea and cocoa, and also the whole snacking business in total, they have also realized that this is the future of a petrol station. So therefore, they invested now a lot of money into a quicker turnaround of their coffee shops worldwide.
Because it's going so well. One of the points I'd like to pick up with you, John, is this obviously this switching from the purchasing department, if you like, driving everything, to the category managers having much more say.
I love what he said. And what he said, I see 95% of the time, it's all procurement driven. Let's have it product quality, my tummy, I want marvellous products, and work backwards to that.
You're both agreeing with each other. I'm gonna sort of play devil's advocate.
He's more organised, he's German, you see.
You come back to me, but let's say I'm the purchasing department and I say, well, the consumer can't afford, doesn't want to pay the higher prices.
Okay.
I mean, what do you say to me then?
Evidence. Understand the market, understand the customer base, understand the trends. Don't wear it, sorry.
Lars, what would you say if I said that to you?
I think that answer is not relevant. Relevant is the turn of the product in the shelf. And because these retailers who had changed the mindset and increased the turns in the shelf, they have been proven right. And therefore, it's not always from cost point of view, it's also from sales point of view, the question, how can I change the consumer experience? And by that, turning more product. And even if I reduce my profit per serving, I increase my total profit because I'm turning more. And that's the methodology which the retailer understood, or Circle K understood. And therefore, they changed, in my opinion, the total industry with that mindset.
Let's just think about the coffee category and how it's been done in the convenience and roadside retail industry globally. Are we doing a good job now, John?
I want the smile, I want the teeth, I want the welcome. I want to go in through the sliding doors in that mood and come out in that mood. So I think that whole thing, and if I'm eating the pasty that's been in there for 4.5 hours, but you're messing around making me coffee, which is admirable, but then you're grumpy and they're trying to get petrol and whatever, trying to do it faster and quicker and cheaper eventually just doesn't have a place in the market. He's totally correct.
What other sort of innovations are there, Lars, in terms of the coffee machines and so on, to do more? And I think we had a conversation about hybrid machines, didn't we? Tell us a bit about what your thoughts are there.
Let's say if a retailer only has, let's say, a little bit amount of staff in the store and is not, let's say, able to put more people in like other retailers have done it from a let's say passive oriented sale to an active oriented sale, then they need to have machines which give the impression that this is specialty food. And in the coffee industry, next to very, very good full automatic machines from leading manufacturers globally, we also saw in development of so-called hybrid machines. These hybrid machines are actually looking like semi-automatic, but they are fully automatic. And the advantage is actually that a consumer believes that a semi-automatic machine produces a better coffee, a better quality, because it's more like a craft product. And then a fully automatic machine sometimes is not really giving such big value.
Let's talk about tea for a bit. I mean, how is coffee's done reasonably well? There are criticisms; it could be done better, and a lot of headroom left. But what about tea in the convenience roadside retail supermarket industry? I mean, how? And Lars, I'm going to come to you because I think you've got some interesting things to say. But John,
I think coffee has been done to death nearly over the last 15, 20 years. But tea, I was hoping 10 years ago there would be this kind of explosion. It doesn't seem to have happened, which in some ways is so unfortunate because the whole story and the journey and the flavour and the intrigue with tea in some ways is bigger than coffee.
Lars, you're going to agree with that, but come on, tell us what needs to be done.
Let's say when I look at the whole business case from a British point of view, with tea being a part of the culture, let's say black tea being part of the culture, that is obviously it's difficult to really look into innovations because traditionally the British like the traditional black strong tea from Assam or from Kenya. But what I've seen and what's also driving our business is, first of all, we have investigated what's the consumer's habit on mindset and thinking when they walk into a convenience store and maybe thinking about tea. And the mindset was that basically everybody was, let's say 9 out of 10 people were thinking that tea offered in a petrol station or convenience store is the lowest quality ever. And also, let's say the hot temperature also took away the thought that this can be immediately consumed, such as coffee can, when it's actually blended also with milk. So we basically invented a new tea bag, which we call the convenience tea bag, which has proven, let's say, a very, very strong increase of business for all the customers we are serving. Because this tea bag is using, first of all, leaf teas. So the appearance of a leaf is giving the consumer a better, let's say, quality approach. And then also in the combination of the right amount of tea for the right amount of serving size, such as 12 ounce to 16 ounce, has actually changed the habit dramatically. But also concepts like steep tea, let's say a fresh prepared tea in the store, just with one item. We don't need to have 10 different flavors available. We have tested it with Tim Hortons in Canada, and they actually launched a product called Steep Tea, and they have been very, very successful. And they also sold next to that specialty tea and in different tea bags, but they could lift their sales by about a few 100% just because they offered a tea already prepared, instead of offering a tea bag where the consumer needs to add hot water and waits 15 minutes until the temperature is right to consume it.
I mean, what I like about what you said, Lars, is the passion and the focus and the understanding of that category.
Yeah. I think part of the problem in the UK, which in some occasions can be a bit odd compared to the rest of Europe, is they have this, I'm not paying that, it's a bag and it's boiling water. I think the whole storytelling, if they understood more about, as we've done in coffee. I mean, if you go back 25 years, coffee was black or white, or there was sugar, and that was it. Let's go on the same journey.
The customer experience and the journey is very important in all this, isn't it?
Yeah, the customer experience is actually everything, in my opinion. And customer experience is starting with the visual impression somebody gets when to enter a store. That's basically the first feeling. What kind of material is used? What kind of freshness, let's say one-stop shop concepts of fresh fruits, or so it's a combination of different, let's say, fully thought through concepts. So if I want to be successful in the category of coffee, tea and cocoa, I just need to do it right from all points of view. I cannot just offer, let's say, a nice coffee machine and then save on the ingredient and have let's say, the accessories not right. So I think this customer satisfaction is so important, but it's in the end also taste. When somebody gets a product which tastes good, and the price can also be reasonably high, but if the taste is awful, people feel actually really cheated when they spend $3.50 or €3.50 for a coffee, or even €4, and they get a very poor product. Then it's not really helping.
Well, Lars, terrific to get your passion and understanding of this category. I mean, last question to me, and then I'll come to you, John, as well. I mean, are you optimistic about the convenience retail, roadside retail sector, and as far as hot beverage is concerned, are you optimistic about innovation?
I think the industry has no other chance with the change of, let's say, fueling habits from, let's say, regular petrol to electric or other alternatives, and the time a consumer is spending in a store. We will eventually go from fast food to slow food. And retailers, I mean, Circle K, for instance, they consider themselves a coffee shop. And nowadays, you can see if you walk in that the impression is a totally different one than maybe 5 years back. And the answer is yes, the retailer is forced to do innovation in order to give more offers, attractive offers, and change the habit and the impression of the consumer for a fast food outlet. So I think slow food is the new word, and that will drive the innovation and the satisfaction to the taste satisfaction to the consumer, in my opinion.
Lars is totally correct about that. I think at the end of the day, if we're going to wait the 3.5 minutes for the coffee and all the hissing and the grinding and all that stuff, then let's also wait for that fresh sandwich. Yes, and have respect for that. I think if that's what he's saying, and which he is, I totally agree with you. Support him.
It makes perfect sense. Lars, thank you very much for joining us today. Fascinating, and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Pleasure. It was nice to be with you.
Thank you.
So, John, we've been talking all about convergence. This, your side of the world coming to my side of the world and making something beautiful. I mean, I don't know whether I can say that, but you know what I mean.
Sounds good.
What does the future look like to you?
I think it's semi-ripping up the rule book. It's big thinking. It's stopping the segregation and the wire fences and the walls and thinking as a customer from their tummy and their throat. That's what's important. And if we all acknowledge the skills and the abilities and the trades of each other, then I think the future could be very good.
And I'm going to see more people like you in my industry.
There's only one of me.